Morning again, viewers and subscribers. Welcome to another quick transfer roundup. You know, coming to the end of the third week of the winter transfer window, and few exciting deals to talk about, few rumors circulating around. So before further ado, let me get straight into it. Hot off the press, Arsenal just, well, the Arsenal website hasn't announced it, but renowned journalist Fabrizio Romano just reported that Arsenal has agreed a deal for Polish centre-back Jakub Kiwior. Now, he's a player, he plays for Spezia over there in the Polish league. Don't know anything about him in the Polish league. Only thing I've seen of him is 4 games in the past World Cup. You know, and he had some really stellar performances for Poland, playing in the central defense with Glick. You know, he was their best defender in most of the games. So that's all I know of him right now. I mean, that's all I've seen from him. Can't judge much from international tournaments, as we all know. But yeah, he had a pretty good World Cup playing for Poland. Now, he's a pretty versatile left-footed player, left-footed defender. Plays at centre-back, left-back, and sometimes plays as a defensive midfielder. You know, and those are the players that Arteta has been looking for in his team. Yeah, so with that kind of addition, you can see where it makes sense. It's one of those sensible transfers. It's like I said, he plays in multiple positions on the field. So let's see how that one works out. You know, Arsenal has always been looking for a backup for Gabriel, who hasn't really gotten any rest all season. So, and especially with the knockout stages of the Europa League starting soon, he could see some playing time pretty early. Moving on. Yesterday it was also reported that a deal was agreed with Brighton for their forward player Leandro Trossard. Now, he's a player with at least 3 seasons experience in the Premier League thus far. You know, can play anywhere across the front 3. Plays as a false 9, right wing, left wing, even slotting in as a number 10 at times. So another sensible addition for Arsenal. You know, with so many miles being on the legs of Saka and Martinelli so far this season, you can see where an addition like this really makes sense. Especially since Arsenal missed out on the signing of Callum Mudryk to Chelsea. They did need to add another body in that area of the field, and with them pushing for the league title, you know, it works out, them bringing in someone with Premier League experience. So another sensible and good addition from Arsenal, bringing in Leandro Trossard, and only for £27 million. So good addition from them on those 2 fronts. Also, yesterday Chelsea, they completed the signing of young English winger Nona Madueke. This is a player that came up through the English youth system. He played for England at under 17s, under 18s, under 21 youth levels. Still only 20 years old, coming from PSV Eindhoven in Holland. But his academic career started at Crystal Palace, then moving on to Tottenham, then over to PSV. So, and he's been at PSV for a few years right now. So this transfer, though, I could see this being one for the future. You know, as you can see, Chelsea look like they're building something for the future. So I could see this being one for the future, because they already brought in like 3 players this window that plays in that position already. I mean, the forward wide position. So Madueke could be one for the future, but who knows, he might end up seeing playing time sooner than later, especially with the current injury list over there at Chelsea. So yeah, that's it for Chelsea signings. Also, Wolves Well, before I go over to Wolves, Nottingham Forest, they completed the signing of Newcastle forward Chris Wood. Now, this is a very good signing for Nottingham. You know, a kind of forward like this, even though they had Anwoyi was a lot of times used as a wide player, you know. So Chris Wood is going to add some presence for them inside the opponent's penalty box, and he's a very hard striker to defend against, as you can see from watching his games when he was at Burnley and at Newcastle. Also, they brought in young Brazilian central midfielder Danilo from Palmeiras. Now, this is a player I've been tracking for like 2.5 years right now. Wanted Arsenal to sign him. He's a left-footed central midfielder. I don't know who to compare him with, to be honest. You know, he reminds me somewhat of Edgar Davids back in the day. You know, he's a rugged midfielder, but he's also very good on the ball. He can beat players, and he has a good pass. So it's interesting to see how it works out for him at Nottingham. But even though he didn't end up at Arsenal, I wish him all the best. I want it to work out for him, you know. Like I said, very good, exciting player, and one that I expect to bring a lot to the league. For Wolves, they brought in French midfielder, former PSG player Pablo Sarabia. He came in about 3 days ago, but I hadn't made any mention of that. So that's a good signing for Wolves. They sometimes lack some creativity in that midfield or forward areas, so that should be a very good signing for them. He's actually a player that I thought one of the bigger clubs would have brought in a while back. You know, he was leaving Valencia, went to PSG, and it didn't work out. But anyways, that's it for signings right now. There are a few rumors circulating around. Tottenham are said to be interested in Roma midfielder Nicola Zaniolo. Roma is said to be interested in, Roma is said to be resigned to selling him, but Tottenham supposedly only want him on a loan deal. Now, Roma has told them supposedly if it's a loan, it's gonna be a loan with options to buy at the end of the season. So let's see how that plays out. He's a very good technical player. Had a lot of promise. He was one of those young Italians that was talked about for quite a few years. Hasn't really worked out thus far, but let's see what happens where he's concerned. Also, Chelsea are still in the market supposedly. They haven't been able to pip Enzo Fernandez from Benfica yet. So they're supposedly still trying to convince Brighton to sell Moises Caicedo to them. Now, Brighton are holding strong, saying they're not interested in selling the player, but we know how Chelsea do business. Money talk. So let's see if Brighton are able to hold out, or if Chelsea will be able to convince them to sell in one of their prized possessions this season.